So the reason you're drowning in almost finished projects isn't a lack of time. It's that you've accidentally trained your brain to fear the finish line. But don't worry, we're going to show you the 3-step system for completion momentum to hijack your neurochemistry and turn every single ending into a massive surge of power. Okay, let's really dig into this because this idea is a total game changer. You know that feeling, right? Being surrounded by half-done reports, unfinished presentations, projects that are just stuck at 90%? Well, that is not a failure of your work ethic. It's a neurological trap. Most productivity advice tells you how to start, how to plan, how to grind. But the true masters of performance, they aren't the ones who start the most projects, they're the ones who terminate the most. They get that done isn't just a status update, it's a biological command your brain needs to function at its peak. All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to expose the open loop trap and then explore the science of what we call the finisher's high. Then we dive straight into our 3-step protocol, the audit, the sprint, and the reset. And finally, we'll tie it all together so you can start mastering the finish line for good. Let's jump in. Okay, first step, the open loop trap. Here's the deal. Every single task you start but don't finish is basically putting a tax on your mental energy. It doesn't matter if you're working on it or not. It's just sitting there in the back of your mind, creating this constant low-level hum of background stress. This is the primary thing standing in the way of real progress. And this leads to a state of what we call cognitive congestion. I want you to think of your brain's working memory like the RAM on your computer. Every unfinished project is like a browser tab you left open. You know, 1 or 2 you might not even notice, but 10, 20, 30, your entire system just slows to a crawl. And this isn't just a cute metaphor, it is a measurable drain on your executive function, your ability to make good decisions, to solve problems, and to focus. You feel super busy, but you're not actually being effective. You're just congested. Now, the science behind this feeling is actually pretty fascinating. It's called the Zeigarnik Effect. This is the reason why a waiter can remember a ridiculously complex order perfectly right up until they deliver the food, and then boom, it's gone from their memory instantly. Your brain is literally hardwired to stay in a state of high tension over anything that's incomplete. It's like a built-in nag feature that was probably great for our ancestors, but in our world, it's just burning us out with a constant buzz of unfinished business. And this slide right here highlights the huge disconnect between our conscious thoughts and our brain's primal reality. You're thinking, hey, I'm just juggling a few things, no big deal. But deep inside your brain, a little structure called the anterior cingulate cortex, or ACC, is basically screaming, I am under constant threat. See, the ACC is your brain's error detector. It sees all that unfinished work as a threat to your resources, and it can't tell the difference between an unfinished report and, say, an unfinished hunt for food. So it just keeps scanning, consuming a massive amount of your cognitive energy.
So what's the real cost? Well, get ready for this. If you have 10 projects that are all 90% complete, you are not 90% of the way to success. Nope. You are operating at a mere 10% of your effective mental capacity. Why? Because your brain is spending its entire budget just keeping all those loops open. The only way to get that lost 90% back is completion. Finishing is the system reboot. It's the only way to clear the RAM and get your full processing power back online.
So, we've talked about the pain of the open loop. But what's the alternative? Well, on the other side of done, there's an incredible neurological reward system just waiting for you. This isn't about forcing yourself to be disciplined. It's about training your brain to actually crave finishing. So, whenever you finish a task, and I mean any task, your brain's reward center, the nucleus accumbens, releases a spike of dopamine. Now, this isn't just some vague good feeling. This is a powerful physiological signal to your brain that says, hey, that was successful, we are capable, we are safe. This chemical reward actually makes you more motivated and more efficient for the next task. It's a literal power-up.
Look at this contrast. It is night and day. When you live in a world of open loops, your brain is basically in a state of chemical starvation. It's running on the fumes of anxiety and stress hormones like cortisol. But when you start closing those loops, you shift into a state of chemical abundance. Your brain is now fueled by dopamine and all these signals of mastery. I mean, which of these two states do you think is going to produce better work? It's a no-brainer.
And believe it or not, it gets even better. Completing a task triggers something called the winner effect. And this is a real biological thing.
After a victory, no matter how small, your brain chemistry literally changes to increase your confidence and, this is key, to lower your fear of future challenges. So finishing one thing actually rewires you to be more effective and more courageous for the next thing. It creates this powerful upward spiral where success chemically breeds more success.
Okay, so how do we actually make this happen? We get tactical. Step 1 is the Shipping-Standard Audit. And when I say shipping, I just mean delivering, completing, getting it out the door. This is the step where we stop vaguely hoping to finish and we start defining the finish line with absolute ruthless clarity.
We do this by creating what we call a minimum viable completion, or MVC. This is the antidote to those two silent project killers, scope creep and perfectionism. Remember the ACC, your brain's threat detector? It absolutely hates ambiguity. A vague goal like, make the presentation better, just keeps the ACC on high alert. But a concrete goal like, create a 10-slide deck with one key takeaway per slide, well, that's a target your brain can lock onto and actually hit. The MVC gives your brain a clear signal that completion is possible.
So I want you to ask yourself this question right now. Think of that one project that's been kind of haunting you. You know the one. What does done actually look like? Be specific. Is it a 5-page document sent to 3 specific people? Is it a piece of code that passes one specific test? Write it down. Make it totally objective. This isn't about lowering your standards. It's about defining them so you can actually hit them and get that sweet, sweet dopamine reward.
All right, once you have that clear finish line, it is time for step 2, the momentum sprint. And the key word here is termination. This isn't about slowly chipping away at something. This is about a short, intense, focused push to get across that finish line with speed.
To do this, you create what's called a closed loop window. This is a sacred, protected block of time where your only job is to finish. And during this window, these rules are absolutely non-negotiable. Do not accept new ideas. Do not check your email. Do not polish beyond your predefined MVC. Your entire focus is on one thing, the close. This stops you from accidentally creating new open loops while you're trying to close an old one. It's that intensity that really magnifies the path.
So you've sprinted, you've crossed the finish line, you're done. But you're not actually done yet. This final step is arguably the most important one for building long-term momentum. It's the neurological reset. You have to anchor the win.
You have to consciously, physically signal to your brain that the loop is closed and the thread is gone. This is your closure signal. And it can be something super simple. Say done out loud. Physically check something off a list with a big satisfying swipe. Close the laptop with a definitive snap. This physical action serves as a cognitive ritual that sends a clear signal to your brain, allowing it to finally release all that pent-up tension.
What this closure signal does is perform a system flush. It's like hitting Control-Alt-Delete on that specific mental process. It recalibrates your brain, moving you out of a state of high stress and into a state of cognitive ease. This flush is what truly refreshes you, clearing the slate and making the momentum you just built self-sustaining. Seriously, do not skip this step. It's how you teach your brain that finishing feels amazing. And when you put these 3 steps together and you start doing them consistently, something really incredible begins to happen. You stop living in that vicious cycle of slow starts and even slower finishes. You start building a virtuous success spiral. So let's recap the whole protocol. It's this simple, really powerful loop. Number 1, audit. Define your objective finish line with an MVC to calm your brain's threat detector. Number 2, sprint. Create a protected, closed-loop window and focus 100% on termination. And number 3, reset. Anchor the win with a clear closure signal to flush your system. Every time you run this loop, you get that dopamine hit, you trigger the winner effect, and you make it easier to start your very next task.
And that really is the ultimate takeaway here. The goal isn't to become some kind of machine that just does more stuff. It's to stop fighting against your own biology and start working with it. By mastering this system, you make focus and finishing the path of least resistance. You turn your productivity into a self-sustaining engine, fueled by the deep, satisfying, and neurologically essential power of being done.